So everybody, welcome. This is episode number 6. If you haven't caught 1 through 5, you're going to want to watch those. They're on our blog at junglescout.com. They're also on our YouTube channel. If you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and you will be notified whenever we release a new session of the $1 Million Case Study. So that's something you're not going to want to forget to do. So where are we at now? We have decided on a product, or I'll say we're 95% sure which product we're going to go for. During session 1 and session 2 of the $1 Million Case Study, we did our product research. We found niches that we think will be profitable. We're going off the data here and the numbers to mitigate our risk and to maximize the chance of the success of these products. So my favorite product at this point are baby hooded towels. So what we did then is in the next couple episodes, we found out how to contact suppliers on Alibaba or how to find good factories on Alibaba. So in total, we contacted 21 factories. Of those, I think like 15 or 16 or something responded. Of those responses, I picked 3 who were my favorite, and we ordered samples from those 3 suppliers. So as a lot of you guys know, last week we didn't have a session because we were actually waiting for these samples to arrive. I ordered them 2 weeks ago, actually sent them to Gen. And Gen, I think, started receiving those samples at the end of last week, and then I think he got the last one on Monday. So I've been communicating with these 3 suppliers that I do like that sent me the samples through Skype, and 2 of them through Skype, and actually 1 of them through WeChat, following up with any questions that I have. So, what are we looking for in these suppliers? What makes these good suppliers? Out of the 21, how did I select these 3? The main things here are communication. So, how responsive are they? How good are their English skills? Do they follow up with me? How long does it take for them to follow up? All those types of things. Probably the most important thing is the quality of the product. So, what do we think about the samples they sent us? Do they seem to be of high quality? We want something that organically gets 4.5 and 5-star reviews on Amazon. So we want something very high quality. We need something at a competitive price. The mission of this case study is to raise as much money as possible for charity. So we want to make a profit off this item. So we want good margins for this item. So we need solid pricing. And then some of the intangibles, as Gary likes to say, are some of they're more like soft skills. Do they have a good track record? Are they proactive or reaching out with me, and those types of things. So like I said, my favorite product at this point and what I'm 95% sure we're doing is this baby hooded towel. So I think maybe I'd seen a few of these before the webinar, but I'm not too familiar with them. I don't have any kids. But this is what the numbers told me was going to be a good opportunity on Amazon at this point of time. So, if you're watching this from a year ago, this will probably no longer be a good opportunity and something else will. 2 years ago, maybe no one ordered these things. I don't know. But at this point in time, this, as the numbers show, is a good opportunity. So how are we going to position ourselves in the market? Because there are probably like a dozen other sellers selling hooded baby towels. So what makes us different? How do we think we can get sales and so forth? Some of the ideas we have after kind of going back and forth with suppliers are we could offer colors. So this is one of our main suppliers here. This is seems to be a very high quality product. This is a nice listing. So, it's like, how can we compete with this person who has this nice packaging and a cute baby on their listing and so forth? We can offer some different colors. Okay, so we can offer like a blue and a pink for maybe boys and girls. We can do a gender neutral colors like white or gray or yellow. When we were reading the reviews that weren't 5-star reviews, so 4-star reviews, 3-star reviews, 2-star reviews, what some of the people were complaining about is that the towels were too thin. So what we're looking at doing is doing a thicker, maybe more luxurious towel. We want something super soft, very high-end feel. There was also some poor reviews saying that this item wasn't large enough. So we found that most of our competitors, the size is 75 by 75 centimeters. We want to go a little bit bigger than that to hopefully appeal to those people that are complaining about the small size. We want to do 90 by 90 centimeters. And then I have on here the added value is to include a washcloth. So I'll talk about this a little bit more in a few minutes, but I didn't actually initially have this idea. A supplier recommended it to me, and I'll kind of give you the breakdown of that in a minute. So if you looked at our last webinar, we told you about Factory 1, Factory 2, Factory 3, and we've done the same thing here. I want to tell you guys a little bit about these factories, what I've thought about communicating with them so far, and what I've thought about looking at the sample so far. So factory number 1, good communication. She has good English. She's been pretty responsive. I think I messaged, I Skyped her last night. I think it was 10 or 11 o'clock my time, which is pretty early in the morning for her. And within an hour or so, she responded, and then we were communicating back and forth. So that was good. It appears this is a supplier for one of the top listings on Amazon. The reason we think that is the sample that she sent actually had the tag from that particular listing. That doesn't 100% guarantee us that they're the supplier for that particular company, but they probably are. So that's probably a plus for them. They sent 3 extra swatches, which were very nice. You can see in the pictures here, they sent a pink, a yellow, and a blue swatch. These are, I don't know, Gang could tell us better, but maybe like 5 inches by 5 inches or something. And it's nice to see these different colors and inspect these for quality. They also sent 1 full sample, so fully sewed together. So again, was able to inspect those samples. And after I talk about these 3 factories, again, it's going to actually show us those live. The pricing seems competitive. The pricing was $5.40 for the towel, the box, and the label. And that was before negotiating. So that was like the original price she quoted me. And yeah, I think even at that price, I could probably make a profit. And I'm sure I could, since I haven't done any negotiating yet, I could probably get that a little bit cheaper. Lead time's fine, about a month, as to be expected. One major caveat with factory number 1, one thing that I don't like is in order to do a thicker fabric, so the swatches and the sample they sent are 400 GSM, which I didn't know what this meant before this particular case study because I've never done textiles, but that's grams per square meter, so that's the weight of the fabric. So the standard fabric they do is 400 GSM. So I guess that's like material that they've already produced, they've already put through their knitting machine, and they already have it, okay? So with that, they can do small order quantities, 200 units, 300 units, 500 units, etc. The main problem with factory number 1 is in order to do a thicker fabric, they have to like weave it on their machine. And to make it worth it to them to do that, we have to order a minimum of 6,000 pieces, which that's a lot. That's too many for us. That'd be quite a bit of capital to get this project going. It would probably take, a half a year or 3/4 of a year to sell those units. So that's a little bit too much for us. So with this particular supplier, we would have to go for the 400 GSM fabric, which it's fine. Like they're probably the supplier of that other item I showed you, that other listing that I showed you that was getting like 4.5 stars. So it'd be okay, but we wanted to do something better. We wanted to be the best quality product on Amazon. All right, factory number 2, again, good communication, good English. This sales rep was very nice to work with. This lady is like a hustler, as I'm willing to say. I like to say she is willing to make stuff happen. She's willing to work with me. It seems like, that she wants this business. She's pretty easygoing. Like when I suggest things, she's like, yeah, I think we can make that happen. Yeah, I think I can make that happen. No problem here, no problem there, etc. This is also, as I was talking about earlier, that washcloth. I wasn't thinking about bundling in a washcloth with this particular product. However, what she told me was her fabric it's 120 centimeters wide. So if you can imagine like a big roll of fabric, it's 120 centimeters wide. So our product is going to be 90 centimeters wide. So, if they start with 120 centimeter wide fabric, we only need 90 centimeters of that. It's like there's going to be a little bit of waste, right? So part of that's used for the hood. And she's like, there's also going to be another waste. So for only 35 cents extra, I'll make that waste into a washcloth. I'll sew the edges around it, and it'll be the same, fabric and same color. So I'm like, okay, cool. For 35 cents, that's pretty cheap. It's a way to differentiate my product I can probably charge $1 or $2, maybe $3 more on Amazon if I'm including a washcloth in mine, and it's only costing me 35 cents. So it seems like a pretty good deal. So she quoted me, again, this is initial price, $6.09. And that includes the washcloth. So the towel, the washcloth, the tags, a nice brown box, about $6.09. So again, this is before negotiating. So I imagine I can probably get it for, I don't know, maybe $5, maybe $5.50. We'll see. And again, we'll show us these samples, but they sent 2 nice samples, 2 different styles. One's like this bear with these circle-ish ears. The other one's kind of like more like bunny rabbit ears. They're long and floppy. And then factory number, and then again, here with factory number 2, there was no problems with minimum order quantity. So I could order just a few hundred units. So no worries there. Even in the thicker material, which is the 400 GSM, which is what I'm looking for. So factory number 3, again, I didn't have any problems with communicating with any of these factories. All of them had pretty good English, pretty responsive. See here, before negotiating with this particular factory, she quoted me $7.03, which is the most expensive, and that I asked her to include a washcloth with that. So again, that's the price including the washcloth. And again, that is the, let's see, I'm sorry. Our sample, I told you wrong for factory number 2. The sample was 400 GSM, but the price right here, this is for the 500 GSM. So this is for the thicker fabric, the fabric that we want. And again, we'll show us these samples, but this factory was nice to work with, etc. So let's look at a little bit of comparison of these different factories. This is like a good way to do it if you order multiple samples. Overall, everyone was nice to work with. They had pretty good communication skills. The lead times, more or less the same, about a month, which is fairly typical when you're getting production runs done in China. As far as pricing goes, Supplier I's the cheapest, but remember, this is the thinner fabric. So this is the 400 GSM fabric, where Supplier II and Supplier III, these prices are for the 500 GSM, and all this is before negotiating. Again, will tell us a little bit more about the product quality. However, I think, overall, they're all pretty soft and luxurious and a high-end feel. So the good news is we could really go with any of these 3 factories and to be successful on Amazon. So it's like the best position to be in, because now we can probably be a little bit harder, a little bit more aggressive on negotiating for price, because it's like, for $7, like I'm probably not going to go with you if you don't give me better pricing, right? So that's always like good to know that, I could go with probably any of these 3 suppliers and be successful, even if I went with Supplier I and did the little bit thinner fabric. So that being said, again, do you want to show us a few of those samples?
Yeah, I would love to.
All right.
Grab it right here. So yeah, it just came in like a little DHL. I was here. They ring the doorbell. That is a beautiful thing as well. You didn't really mention you haven't gone into the shipping yet, but it seems like it would be fairly affordable to do some by air. Maybe just get the first inventory shipment, because not really that heavy, and I did get a towel. And the first one came March 21st, I think.
Okay.
So when did you order it?
Let's
March
see,
10th or something.
Yeah, I ordered it 2 weeks ago. So yeah, maybe the 10th, or probably more likely the 13th or 14th. I forget exactly, but it's pretty good. It's about like a week for the first one, which is pretty quick. And these are being shipped from China, guys. And no, you don't have to do any type of customs or anything like that when you receive these samples. They're shipped. What'd you get? DHL and FedEx, UPS?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. So yeah, you don't have to do anything customs or anything crazy like that. It's just shipped to a rag on Gen's doorstep, from the DHL or UPS man. Yeah,
exactly. So this is Supplier I, and like you were saying, just a simple bear, and this is actually labeled as one of the brands of the top supplier, or I'm sorry, the top one of the top keywords for this hooded towel, and just judging by the label, it seems to be a 400 GSM. It's 92% organic bamboo and 8% microfiber, which is nice. It's kind of like a nice standard quality. One of the challenges that we saw on the reviews, customer reviews, was loose threads or poor quality. It was falling apart before they even got it. This seems to be fine. Again, I'm no textile expert, but the stitching seems to be good and uniform across. And then these are the samples, the 3 swatches. We have the pink, the blue, and the yellow, so I guess perfect for Easter colors or springtime. And Greg, you said these are 500 GSM?
No, those are 400 GSM also.
Oh, 400 GSM. But the only way I can describe these are kind of like silken, extra silky, very soft, good to the touch, and probably nice to have a baby come out of a warm bath and maintain the warmth. The one thing is I wonder if it is as absorbent. You know, some of those cloths that can be really silky smooth, but might not wick away the moisture as well. I tried, I couldn't really tell that well. But that's one potential thought I would have here is it's nice, but just kind of smears the liquid across your skin. I don't know.
Good. I like it. I like being critical with it. One thing to remember, again, you reminded me of this, is oftentimes the factory will send you like their best sample, right? So, you know, again, said that particular sample didn't have any like loose threads or threads hanging off or anything. They probably inspect that before they send it to you for a sample. So don't automatically assume that our whole production line is going to be like that just because the sample is. So something to keep in mind.
Excellent. All right. Any questions about Supplier I?
No, it doesn't look like anyone had any questions for it. So let's check out Supplier II.
So the overall good thing. Supplier II was, as you were saying, the 2 standard towels, 400 GSM, right? So we have the little bear here, cute little standard bear, and then the rabbit with the little rabbit ears. Pretty simple and straightforward. I thought it was interesting how exactly they come up with a fabric. So Greg, maybe you could fill us in later on that for your conversations with the supplier. Yeah, it just kind of a normal towel. I guess it is soft. It seems to be high quality. It would definitely work. And me as a relatively new parent, I'd be happy to pay $25 for this. The one thing is, so this is a 90 centimeter by 90 centimeter. And so I can definitely see where people would say that a towel was too small if they got the 75 by 75, which is actually what I have for my 10-month-old, and it's a little bit small at this point. So yeah, that's kind of the takeaway from Supplier II is good quality, and the 90 by 90 is kind of a nice fit.
Nice. Good to know. And from an experienced parent. So you know better than I do, again.
Yeah, bath time is usually mom's time, though. However, I did the drying, so I do this. Okay. And then, so this is Supplier III. And Supplier III gave us 3 samples. Well, we saw this is a rectangle. Couple nice things that I noticed from Supplier III is you can see in here that there's actually a lined, kind of like a linen fabric lining the hood. And we were discussing it earlier, like if the hood is sitting on a baby's towel, would it irritate their head if it was kind of like the raw embroidery on top of the head? Granted, they're not using this towel for that long, but this is kind of like a nice touch to add a feel of high quality and premium towels. Also, I noticed with these, you included the screenshot in the slide deck, but they're a little bit more intricate with their embroidery, and the ears kind of have different types of fabric. To me, like, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily make it that much better, but it's interesting that they just have a lot more fancy designs. But I think the one thing, the takeaway from supplier number 3 is that the 500 GSM 100% bamboo, which is this towel, would be a really nice product. So this might, top the market as far as price, where it could be like $25, $26, $27. and totally be fine, because it kind of like has a heavier weight and softer feel, so it does convey that luxurious thing that we're trying to do as far as our marketing.
So that I think that's the only sample that was 500 GSM, right? So is that noticeably heavier and thicker than the 400 GSM? Like it feels higher end, or
It
nicer?
does. It does. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
And so, yeah, I mean, I can even notice it not even side by side, but if I just like pick it up, yeah, this one definitely seems to be a heavier weight and also a thicker material.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Okay. So one thing we learned here, I think, is that, it seems like we definitely do want the 500 GSM. Keep in mind, guys, that, like Factory 2, they could have made us the 500 GSM, I think, but she said it was going to be like a month or 5 weeks or something. And I was like, we have $1 million of sales to do here. We can't wait 6 weeks for the sample. Like, just send us the 400 GSM, and we'll figure it out from there. If we need a little bit thicker, then I'll just tell you 500. So there's not a really exact science to this. I'm not a textile expert by any means. We're kind of winging a little bit. Again, before we go back on the slides, we have had a lot of chatter in the chat box. If you can maybe try one on.
Well, I suppose maybe I could just, if I do get cold, it's proof that the 500 GSM is big enough. You can see, there you go. And I'll tell you, and I have photo proof later on this slide. I put my daughter Aya in it, and she liked it. She liked it a lot. So.
All right. And you're looking really good in the sample too, again, I will say. Did Aya break out with any bad rashes after or anything?
No. We put her to the test. No problem at all.
All right. That is good news then. It has been tested. And speaking of tested, again, this is actually a fantastic segue into our next slide. We got some, let me share my screen with you here. Some people during the last webinar, were asking about testing, like what do we need to do for testing? What should we be concerned with? That kind of thing.
Greg.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, can I just interrupt? I do want to drop in a little survey. I'd love to hear what people think. So in the meantime, while you discuss it, guys, just click on that link I'm going to drop in there.
Fantastic. Can you just confirm with me you can see my screen again?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Fantastic. Okay, guys. So with different products, there are different rules. And I'm no expert on this, but I have enough products on Amazon to kind of like to feel like I understand this reasonably well. So there's all kinds of like strange rules with different products that like I wouldn't really think of before. So it's always good, like if you decide on a product, to just kind of Google what types of testing may need to be done with it. So I think there's a few weird things with like different types of wood, with probably any product that goes on your skin or in your body, anything that you eat off of or drink out of, those would be products that may need to be tested. And then the concern with this one is, I know without a doubt that like children's toys definitely do need to be tested. And I think there's different testing associated with which age group you market it to. So that would be like lead testing. They're probably like, whatever, can't be any small parts that the baby can eat. I don't know all the details, but that'd be the gist of it. So, we were wondering, since this isn't like a baby toy, however, this is a towel that we are marketing towards babies. So do we need to do similar testing as you would with toys or something else for this particular product? And we haven't done all of our research on this yet. We started. This is a really good resource that we found, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. And it's a little bit of like a survey. Do you want to explain this a little bit better? Again, you were the one that actually did the survey.
Yeah, sure. It's pretty much like a decision tree survey. You kind of like answer questions of what type of your product, what type of product it is, and it might be like it started at a high level. Is it like a weapon or sharp or kids or chemicals? And then you kind of like go through this series of questions, and ultimately it'll give you a verdict on how your product like might be subject to these commission rulings. And frankly, it was like a really long text-heavy document, so I didn't read it. But it does give it to you for download, and I did save it for a rainy day when I'll be reading it. But it's fairly intuitive. It takes about 5 minutes. So I think it's really good to go through as kind of like another checkpoint that, yeah, we have done this and we feel okay that this passes consumer safety tests.
Okay, cool. And then, so what'd you find out for our towels?
I do believe it's okay. I mean, I like from our session 3, I would definitely like some legal expertise on that, but it does seem to be okay.
Okay, so maybe we'll do a little more research on this. And yeah, it appears that we, don't need any additional testing for this particular product, but we're not entirely sure on that. If someone knows for sure, feel free to drop in the chat box. We love your tips or advice. And another good resource is actually just, again, communicating with the factories. We can say like, hey, when you send these to other people in the US, do they ask for certain testing or certifications? Have you done this before? That might at least point us in the right direction. So it's something we haven't done yet, but we'll be sure of that before we place our big order. I will say though, like, I'm not scared of any of those tests. Even if we have to do the lead test or flammability test or whatever else, they're like $100 each or $200 or whatever, just for the first time. So we have plenty of margin to account for that. So that's not a deal breaker by any means, but we do want to abide by the rules and make sure that we're legit. All right. So where do we go from here, guys? So from here, I am going to communicate probably with, well, again, what is our, do we have some survey results yet?
No, I think I did drop it in. I was seeing some errors. Maybe the URL didn't work. But I did see kind of qualitatively that people liked 3. Definitely the 500 GSM bamboo one. But that I should wash it before we make a decision. Has hipster appeal. That's good or bad.
All right. But, is that with just you wearing again, or would that be babies too? Or
well, yeah, maybe just a scarf as well for me. And but yeah, by and large, people who did drop in the chat like Supplier III. But that I should wash it and then see how it holds up after the laundry.
Okay, cool.
So that's a very good point.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'm going to communicate a little bit more with Factory 2 and Factory 3. At this point, I haven't ruled out Factory 1, but they're probably my least favorite because we do want that more luxurious, thicker product, right? So, and we don't want to order 6,000 pieces to do it. So right now I'm going to communicate with Factory 2, Factory 3. I'm going to chat with them a little bit more what they can do with pricing. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of see where it goes from there. I would like to, in the next week or so, go ahead and put down deposits so we can get this order started so we can keep the $1 million case study going along. And yeah, well, of course, we will let you guys know about that. So I'm going to get some final prices negotiated here. I'm going to put together a order agreement. During our last case study, the bamboo marshmallow sticks, we put an order agreement on our blog that is very similar to the one I'll be using this time. Oh, I mean, I'm actually just going to go to the blog, copy it, put it in a Word document, adjust anything that I see necessary. I'm going to put in some clauses that are specific to these towels. So I'm going to say, I don't know exactly, but I'm going to make up some stuff like there can't be loose threads longer than, I don't know, what do you think? Again, 1 or 2 centimeters hanging off. I'm going to think of anything else that I can. Like it must include the tag. It must be this brown box. We give them the design. Be as specific as I can of what I expect. For this particular product, I think I'm actually going to get a third-party inspection service too. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in a future webinar. I used probably my first 25 orders I ever placed from China. I never got any inspections, and knock on wood, I never had any bad experiences. So that's really good. However, for this particular one, especially since all of you guys are watching and we want this to succeed, I think I'm not going to be a cheapskate. I'm going to go ahead and pay a couple $100 to get an inspection done. So what I can also do is I can talk to this inspection service. I know like asiainspection.com is a good one. And they actually have checklists on their website that tell you like what they look for. So I'll go ahead and probably try to find one of those checklists and put a few of those things in the agreement. So some things might be like, after washing in hot water, the color must not vary more than, like, they have different shades or whatever. It must not vary more than like one shade from the unwashed product. And, you know, if you dip the tag that has my logo printed on it in alcohol, it can't rub off. Or they have different things like that. I don't even know all the stuff, but those are the types of things I like to put in my agreement to make very clear to this factory that I expect a high quality product, that I am very concerned with the quality. You know, I want all 5-star reviews for this product. So I want something that's nice and high end. So that's kind of where we're going from here. And this is Gen's baby right here. Would you say 10 months old, Gen?
Yeah.
And it looks like she's voting for, this looks like Supplier II, huh? Did you put in?
Exactly. 90 by 90, Supplier II. Like I said, we use the 75-inch or centimeter one. So she's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
All right. That must be why the big smile on her face.
Yeah.
So that being said, guys, I think we have a little bit of time here, so I will take a few questions. If you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat box now. But next Wednesday, so that's April 5th at the same time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to do episode 7 of the $1 Million Case Study. And we are going to be talking about package design and branding. So after I select my supplier, I am going to ask them for a template to use for my packaging. And then after that, it'll be up to me to create some kind of design to give them to print on the packaging. So we're going to talk all about that next Wednesday, the things I need to be thinking of. You know, there's obviously lots that goes into that, and we're going to cover all that next week. So with that being said, what do you think, Gen? Are there a few a few questions in the chat that would be relevant for this particular webinar?
Yeah, good one from Ernesto. So we have 3 good suppliers. How will you, quote unquote, let down the suppliers that you don't use?
Good question. In the past, I've been kind of bad about this and just not responded to them. That's actually not the best thing to do, though, because it is good, you know, like if our top supplier doesn't end up working out, it's really nice to have some backup choices. So maybe I just say, you know, we've put off this order for now, or we decide to go with someone else for now, but I may consider your products in the future. Or the right thing to do there is to kind of communicate with them to kind of like save face and keep the relationship open, because you may need them in the future, right? Like if we place this first order and it doesn't get a bunch of 5-star reviews, maybe it gets 3 and 4-star reviews. That doesn't mean we're going to necessarily give up on the product. That probably means we're looking for a different factory. So at that point, it'd be really good to go with one of these other factories that have kind of already established a relationship and got a sample from.
Sure. Excellent. So somebody was asking, so suppose you weren't doing this for an audience, how long would you evaluate these samples and other things that you might do differently?
Yeah, it's a good question. We are trying to push this along fairly quickly because we know all you guys are watching and no one wants to wait a month for our samples, right? So we've been quick about it. But to be completely honest, we're not necessarily like doing a poor quality job. We did kind of rush through product research a little bit, but that's okay. So, you know, like there's nothing wrong with going the same pace that we are. I guess it kind of depends like how much time you have to spend on it. The one thing that is really good about doing this is it holds us accountable, right? It's like, okay, we need samples in 2 weeks because we have another webinar to do. Okay, like we're doing packaging next week. So if you can follow along with us, that's fantastic as well.
Very cool. So can you take us a little bit into the details of your negotiation? You mentioned that you have 3 good options, so you could use any of them. How will you be negotiating to get the best price?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I'm by no means an expert negotiator, so hopefully my suppliers aren't following along with the $1 Million Case Study as well. Essentially what I've done in the past and what I plan on doing with them is just say, you know, like I like the quality of your product. It seems nice. You seem nice to work with. However, you know, you are the most expensive product. So can you work with me on the price? What kind of better pricing can you give me? At this point, I'm not going to be able to go with you. In this case, it's probably going to be true with most people I say it to, but even if it's not, I think it's probably an effective negotiating tactic. So that's what I plan on doing. Like I said, I'm far from an expert negotiator. So it should, get me a little bit better pricing. I will say I never beat factories up too much over pricing. I'm never like, all right, I need it 5 cents cheaper. I need it 5 cents cheaper. I need it 5 cents cheaper. Because, I do want to continue to have a good relationship with this factory. So I do need good pricing so I can make a good profit on this product. However, I don't need to say like, all right, I need it 5 cents cheaper, 3 cents cheaper, whatever, because, I want to be a good customer as well, that they're happy to, do me favors or make the quality good or push my product in front of another customer so they can get it out the assembly line faster, that type of thing.
Excellent. So we did cover this a little bit with Gary Wong, but as far as payment, so assume you're going to pay 30% down, or you're going to use trade assurance, or can you walk through the details of how that will work?
Yeah, so when I started selling on Amazon a few years ago, Alibaba trade insurance didn't exist, so no one did it. So I think it started like maybe 2 years ago, but as of today, it actually is like fairly common. I haven't asked these suppliers yet. However, I could probably get them to take Alibaba trade insurance if I really wanted, or they might even offer it right off the bat. So I'm either going to pay with the Alibaba trade insurance or a wire transfer. Both of those are the common and expected payment methods. The trade assurance does give you a little bit more security that you are going to get your product. However, I'm not terribly concerned about that. I feel pretty good about these suppliers. I've never had a bad experience in the past, like getting ripped off by one of these people. Again, knock on wood. So I wouldn't be worried about a wire transfer either. That's the standard in the industry.
Okay. So when you put the final order in, are you going to kind of like pick and choose as far as the best designs of the 3 suppliers and just go with one supplier, or go with, the bear or the rabbit or whatever they do and just take that?
Yeah, so any of these factories will be pretty flexible with us. So for instance, if we wanted the rabbit from factory 1 or factory 3, I'm sure they would make it. We just need to give them the dimensions or maybe send them a sample. So keep in mind here, guys, that I was kind of pushing this along kind of quickly. So I was like, okay, send me whatever samples you have, more or less. So if we really decide we want the rabbit, we want factory 3, we can go with that. What I'm thinking or leaning towards right now is maybe like 3 colors. I haven't done the research yet which the best-selling colors are, but I'm thinking like white, pink, and blue. We'll see about that though. And then I'll probably just kind of have an open conversation with the factory, like maybe I would like the pink with the rabbit ears and the blue and the white with the bear ears. I don't know, something like that. So at this point, I'm going to do a little bit more research using Jungle Scout to see which particular designs sell best. And then at the end of the day, I'm just going to, at that point, go with my gut and guess. It'll work.
Sure. So we do have a lot of questions about shipping. So we'll actually save those because we do have confirmed an excellent expert on shipping. He's got a PhD in shipping economics. Promise you it won't be that crazy and deep, but he's a well-renowned expert. So he'll be joining on Wednesday, April 12th. But we'll send out the details. It will be during the day though, as he is in Europe. But we'll get up to all those shipping questions then.
Yeah, and I'll just say here, guys, because I know this often happens. People want to get ahead of themselves really far. So I can't see the chat box right now, but I imagine there's questions about setting up our listing and of course, shipping, like you said, and all kinds of things. If you break these down into bite-sized pieces, they're all very easy. Shipping's not that complicated, okay? Package design is not very complicated. Setting up a listing is not complicated. Launching a product, we have a proven system that I guarantee will work. So none of these individually are complicated. They just are if you try to take in too much information at the same time. So I encourage all you guys just to take this bit by bit, watch the webinars as we're doing them, follow along with us, and that's the best way to learn.
Sure. And then there were also a lot of questions about the scripts that you use and the negotiation and the order agreement that you're going to send in. And we did cover that, so you can just go to the Jungle Sticks Collaborative launch page, which is in our free resources section. And so there is actually the word-for-word script that I know a lot of people do use to great success.
Yeah, and that's the one that I use, and that's the one I'm going to use here. Like I just changed the word from bamboo sticks to hooded baby towel. And like I said, I'm going to try to put in some specific things for this particular product. So again, before I was doing wooden sticks. So obviously the specifications around it would be much different than a textile product. So here I'm going to come up with some things to try to be as specific as possible to the factory of like what I expect from the quality and from the final product. Thank you guys very much for joining. I hope you enjoyed seeing Gen wearing a blue hooded baby towel as a sharp looking guy in it. And I'd encourage you guys to do two things to make sure you get the updates for this and a great place to ask questions. So I encourage you to go to youtube.com/Jungle Scout right now. Make sure you subscribe, and that's gonna give you notifications or let you know whenever a new video from the $1 Million Case Study is posted. The best place to ask questions is gonna be in our Facebook group. So it's called the Amazon FBA Competitive Edge. If you search that on Facebook, you'll find it. Make sure you join there. There's like 25,000 people of some of the most helpful people that I've ever met in there, and they will be happy to answer any questions that you have. Gen and I hang out in there a lot too, so we're happy to help. Thanks again for joining us, guys, and we will see you next Wednesday. Adios.
Thanks, guys.